Good morning, everyone here in Chennai, respected Swami Mitranandji, Vikramji, and all the distinguished teachers and the bright future of India. And the best part is nobody is sleeping. I am been noticing everybody's eyes. Not even one student has been sleeping. So thank you for being awake. Yesterday I was talking to somebody last night, and he was telling me the history of how the name of this city was changed from Madras to Chennai. When I was studying, we used to call it Madras. And everybody from South was a Madrasi. If you see Bollywood films of that time, anybody who had a tilak was a Madrasi. I am from that generation. Imagine, some of the greatest of scholars, filmmakers, storytellers, politicians, even social reformers, all of them used to call everybody Madrasi. That is the kind of nation we have grown up in. Therefore, it is a moment of great satisfaction when you come to an event and where everybody calls it Bharat and not India. I am really waiting for a day when there will be no India, there will be only Bharat. When I studied, like Vikram said, we were only told what is wrong with this nation. You have caste issues, you have women empowerment issues, you are a dirty, filthy country, you are weak people, you didn't know how to fight, you have no courage. That's how I grew up believing that everybody else in this world, yes, we are spiritual, we had some great people, Ram and Krishna and great gods or great people. But in our DNA, we are weak people, we were never a great country. Until the time I went to shoot my last film, The Tashkent Files, in Uzbekistan. And it was in Samarkand, the local guide who could translate the language, and he was taking us to see locations to shoot. And we went to Temur Lung's tomb, Dargah, whatever it is, And he told the story. He said that Temur conquered almost all the nations in this region, and his countrymen, they were giving him the title of the emperor, and he refused to accept it. He said, I can never be the emperor until I conquer Hind. What does it mean? It means somebody who was called emperor believed that there was a nation which was the strongest nation in the world, and without conquering it, he cannot be an emperor. And he used the word Hind. What does it mean? That we are all, anybody who is from this soil is from Hind, means he's a Hindu. Where is the debate? There cannot be any debate. On one hand, we learn that it was sin, therefore it became Hind. If it became Hind, then everybody who lives, like anybody who lives in America is an American. Anybody who lives here is a Hindu. So it's a fake debate we have created. And then, how did he conquer? He was not interested in ruling India. I may be wrong, but this is what I was told. I mean, this is a popular folk tale in Uzbekistan. How did he conquer India? Then he got an army, huge. They say it's like the largest army of the world. And then he came via Kashmir, then Punjab, Haryana, and he came to Delhi in one night. It is written also there in a plaque. It says that as a glorification of Temur, that in one night, he killed 100,000 people. And on his way back, he burned villages after villages after villages. His interest was not in ruling India. His interest was in destroying this nation because there cannot be more powerful nation than Uzbekistan. That's what the history is taught over there. It's so unfortunate that an invader, a tyrant, who killed 100,000 people in one night, even if it is exaggeration, he must have killed thousands of people. At that time, population was not so huge. 100,000 people in one night. He destroyed villages after villages, temples after temples, ruined everything. And it is such a sad commentary. It's such a kalank on our historians and our education system that one of the topmost stars of this country calls his child Taimur. Not because he is anti-India or anti-Hindu, because he is not even aware. He has learned the greatness of Taimur. That's why he thinks Taimur is a hero. But he doesn't realize somebody's hero is also somebody's villain, because he has grown up learning only about Islamic heroes. He was never taught about our heroes, the real heroes of this nation. Who's your hero? Somebody who protects you. Somebody who fights for your dignity. Somebody who fights for your honor. Hero is not somebody who's killing only bad people. Hero is somebody who protects you. That's why Rama is a hero. That's why Krishna is a hero. And in my mind, Swamiji, Vikram, anybody who's trying to contribute to protect the honor and dignity of this great civilization is a Hindu hero. Dr. Kalam, Rahim, these are all Hindu heroes. And which is why it is so important to read the history of our heroes. Second thing, Swamiji introduced me as somebody who's researching on history. I am not researching on history, that's left for people like Vikram. I am researching on what the future of India is going to be. History comes in that context. Why Kashmir becomes so important? Just see the conversation before the Kashmir files and after the Kashmir files. Before the Kashmir files, I have been giving speeches for last 10 years, almost 10, 15, 20 days in a month, so I know how the reactions have changed. Before the Kashmir files, wherever I went, students, I'm not talking about matured people because matured people get little corrupt, but students are very innocent. Everywhere students spoke to me as if Kashmir is one conflict zone outside of India. A lot of students used to tell me, sir, why are we wasting money on army? Why this khich-khich? Chhod do na usko, let it go, so that we live peacefully. And most of the students, I have this research, means real sample in written forms from schools and colleges. Most of the students believed that Kashmir was an Islamic region. And Hindus have illegally captured it, which is true. And most of this survey was done in North India and Western India. That's what they believed. Nobody had any pride in Kashmir, as if it's somebody like everybody from South was Madrasi. Similarly, anybody who's from Kashmir is a Muslim. But after Kashmir files, wherever I go, students say, sir, there is no way Kashmir can be separated from India. Because they realized that most of the knowledge which they are getting about Ayurveda, Upanishads, Panini, Patanjali, most of it is coming from Kashmir. Another thing, if you do not know, Kashi, In India, the general education system makes you believe that Kashi has been the only epicenter of Hindu thought or Hindu education, which is not true. In Kashi, after graduating or post-graduating, students in Gurukuls were made to take 3 steps towards in the direction of Kashmir before taking their degree. Because the highest seat of education was there. Nobody ever understood the importance of Kerala and Kashmir, how we are connected through Advaita or Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya. This is the most wonderful land on this planet for a variety of reasons. One reason, that we have organically evolved. Our knowledge system has evolved with experimenting with the life and the society. We have not gone and conquered some other land, captured it, and taken their resource and said, now it is ours and therefore this is part of this evolution. We are like a continuous joint family system. And which is why we are the only society anywhere in the world which has Kulgurus. What is this Kulguru? It is a continuation of a knowledge system, of a tradition, of a heritage. Okay, it must have started from there and slowly it is coming in like this. Today, no child talks about Kulguru. The same child, when he goes and joins Google in USA, with a lot of pride, he talks about founding fathers of USA. But you don't take pride in the founding fathers of your own knowledge system, knowledge cycle. We have given to, I always say, what is the difference between us and the West? And why West can never understand us? Though we can understand the West, they cannot understand. The reason is, while the West was busy in conquering geographical lands and looting somebody else's property and wealth, at that time, we were conquering our minds. We were trying to understand our relationship with the cosmos. We were trying to find the meaning of this Srishti and what is our role in this Srishti. And eventually we realized that we are all one. We are Srishti, Tattvamasi. You are that. The power you think about, that infinite power you think about, or that ultimate truth which you think about, is you, provided you realize it. Therefore, the meaning and purpose of life is to realize yourself and do not waste your life unrealized. And this is the knowledge this world is slowly understanding. Science at least is understanding. In quantum physics, they are understanding that the power of the smallest particle is equal to the entire energy of the world. And which is why when you go to the biggest particle lab of the world, in the CERN lab in Switzerland, as you enter, there is a huge statue of Shiva in cosmic dance, in Tandav Nritya. And the cosmic dance of Shiva is, when you are static, you are dynamic. When you are dynamic, you are static. When you are there, you are not there. When you are not there, you are there. That's exactly what the quantum physics says. The advanced side of quantum physics. Scientists have started realizing it. But it is very, very important now that we, our own people, realize. Whenever I have realized, we talk about oppression. There are two things everybody talks about. In India, there is a lot of oppression. Who's doing whose oppression? Let's face this in a very honest manner. The biggest conflict in India is told Hindu-Muslim. And everybody avoids talking about this. But in day-to-day life, if you see, every single day you have to interact with somebody who's not from your faith. And this kind of interaction between diversity or diverse faiths, you will see only in this country, nowhere else in the world. In America, they say we are diverse. How are they diverse? They have got Chinese locality, they have got Indian locality, they have all kinds of food and localities, but nobody interacts with anybody. But in India, we interact on day-to-day basis. And that is the greatness of Hindu culture and civilization. Because we say, okay, you are different, but no problems. Housewives, on daily basis, they go shopping. They don't care who's selling what. Then who's creating this conflict? Average Indians don't create this conflict. Bhartiyas never create this conflict. India creates this conflict. Today, India's biggest problem is that we divided India and Pakistan, but at the same time, we also divided India and Bharat. We left the intellectual power, the political power, the financial power in the hands of India. And if you look as a pyramid, if India is a pyramid, you will see the base, that the huge, huge masses, that is Bharat, and it's always told by India what's wrong with you and why you should correct yourself, and you are weak, you don't have courage. In case of Kashmir also, everybody knew that there was a genocide. They were killed, raped, and tortured in the name of religion, yet the spokespersons of India kept telling them, you had no courage and you ran away. Which is why I made the Kashmir Files. Which is why I was telling Swamiji, my biggest ambition in life, if you go to YouTube, history of Christianity, history of Islam, history of this, history of that, everything you will find, but you won't find the history of the oldest, longest, continuous civilization of the world. Nobody has made it. And if you go by the Darwin's definition, that whoever survives the longest is the strongest and is the victor, if you go by that definition of science, then we are the only surviving civilization, then we are the strongest and we are the best. No dispute on this. We survived the biggest of the invaders, biggest of the tyrants, biggest of the colonizers. We were ruled for 1,000 years. We are the only society in the history of humanity which was ruled for 1,000 years by the minority. And look at our greatness. When we found independence, we said, even you can have equal rights. I think it's time to tell the history of Bharat, because in my mind there is no India. India is the most fake story. Every young student should take a pledge to correct the narrative against Bharat. Pick up the greatest values of Bharat, spread that all over the world. Look at your mother. I am telling you, the only inspiring thing, don't have to be an intellectual and read big books of history. Just look at your mother. Every single Bharati Ma is a walking, living example of sacrifice, tyag. She goes hungry, she doesn't buy new sarees, she doesn't do anything for herself. And still, without any money, without any resources, all her life, she sees the dream of surviving the hardships to see the day when her children go wherever they go and they become able. And that is the reason wherever we go, people say that yes, Indians can be trusted. This is the biggest quality. There is no bigger trait. The highest trait of anybody's character is that you can be trusted. Trusted means you have integrity. What you say, you do. That is real humanity. The humanity is, the fundamental principle of humanity is that we can trust each other. And the whole world is suffering from trust deficit. And therefore, I think all the young people who are here, take a pledge, you are in the right place. Learn about Bharat, correct it wherever things have gone wrong, and take a lot of pride in the tyag of all our mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters who ensured that we live in a free land, in a great land, and the world's most evolved and spiritual land. Thank you very much.